So today's agenda, I'm going to start with an overview of the Expanded Learning Opportunity Funding Program. I will then talk about how to apply to the ELO fund and how we have set that up and what you can expect as an applicant. And then I'll talk about the decision making and the post-award process and what funded organizations can expect and how the process will work. We'll then have plenty of time for questions and answers at the end as well. So I first just wanted to ground folks who may not know our organization, the Foundation for Tacoma Students, just who we are. So the Foundation for Tacoma Students, we are the backbone nonprofit for the Graduate Tacoma community-wide movement. I wanted to spend a minute here just knowing that this is a funding opportunity that's open to organizations and programs from across Pierce County. And we expect there's many folks here who may not be familiar with the Foundation for Tacoma Students or Graduate Tacoma. The Foundation for Tacoma Students and the Graduate Tacoma Initiative were established in 2010. Our role as the backbone is to align organizations, institutions, and individuals around positive outcomes for students. We ensure the continuity, the stability, and the growth of the Graduate Tacoma movement, and we serve as the only cradle to career intermediary organization in Tacoma, in which we play a unique role of helping to align organizations, institutions, individuals around positive outcomes for students. The Pierce County Expanded Learning Opportunity Fund. This represents a partnership between the Foundation for Tacoma Students and Pierce County. Through the ELO Fund, we will be administering $650,000 in funding for Expanded Learning Opportunity. I'm going to start using the acronym ELO for Expanded Learning Opportunity shorthand. $650,000 in funding for programs throughout Pierce County during the summer of 2021. Our funding will focus on programs that support children's social, emotional, and mental health, and investments will be made in quality summer programs across all communities of Pierce County. ELO programs are an important part of our recovery from the COVID pandemic. They will enhance in-school learning by supporting the holistic social, emotional needs of children and youth as they reacclimate to in-person school and learning environments in 2021 and 2022. We will allocate funds equitably across Pierce County and ensure that we reach all areas of the county and target areas with the most underserved populations as determined by income, race, and the availability of summer programming in a particular area. The ELO fund this funding opportunity is open to a variety of program providers, including nonprofits, fiscally sponsored organizations or programs, colleges and universities, municipal agencies, businesses, and sole proprietorships. Community-based providers who are reflective of and embedded in the communities that they serve will be a particular focus for the ELO fund. Some key details. ELO fund awards will only be made to organizations based in or serving children and youth in Pierce County. Funding provided will be unrestricted, though organizations are expected to apply on behalf of a specific ELO program for which there's a clear and actionable plan for implementation during the summer of 2021. Both new and existing ELO programs are eligible for funding. Funding award sizes will range from $5,000 to $75,000, and funds can be used for any purpose: staffing, materials, overhead, space rental, training or PD for staff. This is what we mean by unrestricted. The dollars can be used for any purpose at your organization. A few key or an important deadline, July 19th is the deadline to apply. The ELO Fund RFP is designed to be simple and low barrier, and we at the foundation will strive to distribute funding awards quickly so as to enable planning and implementation of summer programs. To that end, we'll be running a rolling review and award process. And so we plan to review applications and make funding decisions on a rolling basis during 3 review and disbursement cycles. Right now, we are planning for these review cycles to occur in late June, in mid-July, and then our last one in late July 2021. Our goal is to have all the funds dispersed or to have all awarded organizations and programs identified by the end of July. I want to emphasize, though, those are our expectations. Timelines could shift depending on our own internal processes, but that's what we are driving towards. Lastly, I want to encourage everyone here to please visit our website, graduatetacoma.org. From there, you can find a webpage for the ELO Fund, which has all of the information on it that you need about the ELO Fund and how to apply. And please be sure to download our full applicant guide that you can find on that webpage that, again, has all of the information that I'm going to talk through here, as well as our contact information if you have any follow-up questions. So please visit our website. Next, I want to cover how to apply to the Expanded Learning Opportunity Fund. And first, I want to take a second here just to cover what do we mean by social emotional learning? What is what are the nature of the programs that we want to support? So the ELO Fund will support summer programming that engages young people in hands-on experiential learning that builds these critical social emotional skills. Social emotional learning supports young people in acquiring the knowledge, skills, and attitude to develop healthy identities, understand and manage emotions, achieve personal and collective goals, feel and show empathy, establish and maintain relationships, and make responsible and caring decisions. It's a very broad field, and it's inclusive of a lot of different types of programmings and styles of programs, but some general characteristics of social emotional learning programs in practice are things like creating a welcoming environment for all participants, reinforcing positive behavioral supports and interventions, naming expectations, offering physical and mental wellness, and using trauma-sensitive and trauma-informed practices. If those things sound like aspects of your summer programming, it's likely you are eligible to apply for the ELO Fund. Social emotional learning, shorthand SEL. Social emotional learning is an important piece of advancing educational equity. It fosters learning environments that are characterized by trust and collaborative relationships, and it empowers young people and adults to co-create thriving schools and contribute to safe, healthy, and just communities. You can also check out a couple resources to learn more about social emotional learning and get a sense of how strongly your particular summer program aligns with this. I recommend looking up the Tacoma Whole Child Initiative, the Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, and Schools Out Washington for more information. And all of those resources are also linked on the ELO Fund webpage, and you can go there to find links to those outside sources. Eligibility criteria. So there are 2 non-negotiable eligibility criteria for the ELO Fund. Your program or organization must serve children and youth in Pierce County. It's okay if you serve children and youth also outside of Pierce County, but you must have a programmatic presence here. And your program and organization must provide expanded learning opportunities summer programming in 2021. So we are not awarding planning grants to plan for programs that will exist in 2022. You must provide programming this summer to children and youth between the ages of 5 and 24. Applying to the Expanded Learning Opportunity Fund can be done through the must be done through the FFTS funding portal. So we have created an online application portal for ELO Fund, and you see a screenshot of that here. The application portal will allow you to preview all the application questions and all the parts of the application before you submit anything. It will allow you to start your application, save your work, and come back and complete it at a later date. You can also invite other people to collaborate with you on your application. It's very accessible and easy. You will be asked to create a login and a password, but once you do that, you'll be good to go to start your application, work on it as long as you need to, and submit it through the portal. After submitting, you can also go in and edit your application if you realize you left something out, or you think of something, or you made a mistake or whatever. You are able to do that after you submit your application as well. You can access the application portal at the web address ffts.smapply.io. Don't worry about remembering that. It's linked on our webpage at the Graduate Tacoma website, and you can easily find it there. Again, please be sure to digest the full applicant guide that is on our website before submitting your application. No problem to go in and start your application and all that, but you want to be sure you review everything that's on our website before submitting your application to make sure you understand everything. So what is required as part of an application? The application will have 3 sections to it. The first piece will ask for just general organization information. This consists of just kind of standard questions around your organization name, your contact information, location, and a brief description of your mission and programming. The next section will ask for more detailed information around your ELO summer programming. This will include the name and the location of your summer program. And then there will be a series of simple multiple choice or checkbox questions that asks for information on the population of youth and students you serve, the size of your program, the budget, and the nature of your programming in terms of number of days per week. Is it a drop-in style program, etc. And then the last piece is 4 short answer questions. And here you'll be asked to describe in 250 or 200 to 300 words how your program engages youth and children among priority population groups, how your program supports the needs of children and youth related to social emotional learning. It will ask you to describe in detail the implementation plan for your program. And it'll ask you to describe how your staff, your leadership, your board of directors, if it's applicable, and volunteers, if it's applicable, how those people are reflective of the priority populations that you're serving through your program. I'm sorry, everyone. I realized my slides were jumbled here. This should have been the slide that I was just speaking to. And this is the slide I'm going to speak to now. Sorry about that. Can you get assistance with your application? Yes, absolutely. We are available to answer any questions. You can write to us at grants@graduatetacoma.org. I'll be checking this email multiple times a day, and I promise to respond promptly. I would just say, don't be shy about reaching out. If you're not sure if is it appropriate for me to ask this question? Is this crossing any lines? I would just say, please just ask. Don't be shy. If you want to write to me at that email address, grants@graduatetacoma, and perhaps you have a question that you want to talk through over the phone, I'm happy to do that. Just put that in an email and I will follow up with you. But it's best to not call our office. We're all working remotely still. We're not picking up our phones regularly, and our voicemail box gets full, and we just won't be very quick to respond to voicemails that are left at our office number. So please reach out to us at that email address, and I promise to follow up with you promptly. Next, I'll cover how our funding decisions will be made and what awarded organizations can expect. So funding decisions will be based on how much and to what extent youth serving programs and organizations address 4 funding criteria areas. The first criteria area is, to what extent does your program engage youth in priority populations? Our priority populations are named on our ELO, or it can be found on in the applicant guide on our ELO Fund webpage, but I'll just name them here. They are BIPOC youth, youth in poverty, youth experiencing homelessness, youth involved in the criminal justice system, youth with disabilities, refugee and/or immigrant youth, youth in foster care, LGBTQ youth, and youth residing in areas that are underserved by summer programs. Those are our priority populations. The next evaluation criteria is, to what extent does an organization or program prioritize social emotional learning, mental health, and mental health of this youth or children that you're serving. The next piece after that is, to what extent do organizations or programs, or to what extent do organizations or programs have a clear, realistic, and actionable implementation plan for their summer program? And then the last piece is, to what extent do programs or organizations reflect the priority populations in their staff and leadership? The last thing I'll say here is, you'll notice these 4 evaluation criteria have different weighting to them. And so the first 2 will have a 30% weighting in our evaluation, and then the last 2 each have a 20% weighting. These 4 evaluation criteria also correspond directly with the 4 short answer questions in the application. And so you'll want to be thoughtful about your responses there. Again, please download the applicant guide, look at the details and the bullet points that are in there. And to the extent that you can give an answer that responds directly to what is named as part of our evaluation criteria, that will help your application. So our funding award decisions will be informed by an Expanded Learning Opportunity Fund Advisory Committee. We have recruited advisory committee members that consist primarily of youth development professionals from Pierce County. We will be running, as I said earlier, 3 review cycles. We'll be running our first review cycle in mid-June. We'll run our second review cycle in early July, and we'll run our last review cycle after the RFP has closed on July 19th. And so if you apply before mid-June, you will be reviewed in that first review cycle at the end of the month, and you can expect to be notified of your status by the end of June. If you apply in the middle of June or near the end of this month, you will hear from us in early July after the 4th of July holiday. And then if you apply in July, you will know by the end of July once the RFP is closed and we conduct our last review cycle. From the time you are notified as to whether or not you have been awarded, we hope to be able to make payments in about a week, but we'll say within 1 to 2 weeks just to be safe. We will have to collect a little bit of paperwork from all of the funded organizations. We have a process in place to quickly distribute funds, but just to be safe, we're going to say 1 to 2 weeks from the time you're notified to when we will make payments. We also hope to be able to disperse funds in a single upfront payment to all awarded organizations or programs. Big caveat here though, we are negotiating this currently with Pierce County. As I said up front, this program is a partnership between the Foundation for Tacoma Students and Pierce County, and our ability to make upfront payments will partly depend on what we negotiate with them. But we're hopeful and at this point pretty confident we'll be able to do that. Funded organizations will be asked to enter into a simple data sharing agreement with the Foundation for Tacoma Students. The data sharing agreement will ask you to provide high-level information on the participants in your summer programming. It is not required that organizations provide identifying information for program participants. What we're hoping to do here is capture the efficacy of our granting and youth program across, by requiring a data sharing agreement with funded organizations, we're hoping to capture the efficacy of our granting and youth program access and equity across Pierce County. We're working to not make this overly onerous or unreasonable in any way, and all funded organizations or programs will have the opportunity to discuss these data sharing agreements with the Foundation for Tacoma Students. And we definitely don't want this to be a barrier in any way to applying. If you have any concerns or questions about this piece specifically that we might not get to in today's session, you can write to us at data@graduatetacoma.org, and we will follow up with you and be responsive to any questions or concerns you might have about this data sharing piece or the reporting requirements. If you are not funded, you will of course be notified of your status, and at that time we'll be happy to answer any questions or speak with you if you have any follow-ups or you would like to get any more information on the decision process. Should additional funds become available, we will also reconsider all applications that were not funded. We'll of course notify you of this if it happens, if additional funds do become available, and we'll confirm that you would like to be considered. We may follow up with additional questions if this situation arises, but we will not ask anyone who submitted an application previously to submit a new application. All right, so with that, I'll thank you all for bearing with that short presentation. There's our contact information there.